500 startups with the mentoring, the 350 plus startup through Incubated and RKVY-RAFTAAR with 110 startups through funding. So today we are going to talk about Agri-Startups, how big data driven market intelligence is helping startups to go to the next level and helping farmers for the better prices. We are here with us two speakers today. We'll be starting with Mr. Naveen, who is a principal data and applied scientist at Ninjacart. Ninjacart is India's leading fresh farm produce supply chain management company. So, one moment. Naveen is here with us as a lead principal data scientist there. So he carries a decade of experience across multiple companies in technology role. He is leading the team there. He is here today to share his experiences and views on how the market intelligence, big data is driving agriculture in a way. Naveen, over to you.
Thanks a lot. I think firstly, thanks for the opportunity. I think it's great initiative that you guys are picking this up. I think whatever they said, right. I think I've been working in the entire area of data science, applied science from last 10 years or so, and with Ninjacart I've been there from last 2.5 years. Primarily, I lead the initiatives on unstructured sites here. What I mean by unstructured is the entire realm of data, right? It is possibly divided into, in fact, two ways in a very easier way, right? Where one is your structured data, which is your tables, sheets, CSV files and all. Then the other one is unstructured, right? Where your text data or your voice data or even images, videos. This second leg is called unstructured data. Now, the second leg is what I lead at Ninjacart, and mostly I think that's what I want you guys to go through. Also, maybe a little touch upon what all different areas we try to work on the unstructured side in the entire agri-tech space. I'll share the screen. I think let me give me a second.
Yeah, it's now loading, sir.
You guys can see the screen, right?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Cool.
Yeah, need to make a slideshow.
Sure. Cool. As I said, right, I didn't want to get into too deep on anything technical. I just want to give overview of what we do, and in the process, I'll give some importance on how we use this data also efficiently. So yeah, as I said, I'll walk through what we do at Ninjacart as a data science team, and primarily on the unstructured side of things. And that too, I think I'll pick few projects which might be interesting for the audience, rather than trying to delve into every research project which we do. So I think the first big project which we worked on for decent amount of time is understanding fruits and vegetable quality through computer vision itself. When I say computer vision, any work or any data science or any automation which can be done on images to extract information out of images or video, that is called computer vision. Now, why we started doing is primarily the entire F&V space, right? Fruits and vegetables, or any of this agri space, right? The biggest factor to make a trade or which determines price, that is quality itself. There's nothing else. If the quality is decently bad, the price goes very low. If the quality is utterly bad, it is disaster. And if quality is great, then they will have great prices. And that's the crux of entire agri trading scenario at this point of time. If not the exceptions, like right now what is happening with tomato, right? That has nothing to do with quality. But the idea is, if scenarios are normal, then the quality is the only thing which plays a role. Now, why we wanted to do it an automated solution is primarily right now the traders or let me try to divide this even further, right? The entire agri space has like maybe 3 or 4 verticals, right? One is your farmer ecosystem, where they're primarily pre-harvest. Secondly is your market traders, where once harvest is done, it reaches them. And then you have middle traders, wherein they forward from one city to other city. And finally, you have retailer leg, right, where your end kirana stores or end FME stores, which kind of sell it to the end consumers. These are the four legs that's how we see, and there could be again further few more legs in the middle. But I think at any given leg, right, I think quality plays an important role. Now, primarily how agri market or agri trading works or the entire FME trading works is a local farmer or even a local trader cannot trade with a national trader who is like maybe 500 600 kilometers from his place, primarily because there are a number of variables, right? One is quality is one of them, which he cannot uh, sell to the other side of trade, right? So that's where we thought ki maybe we'll create a commerce marketplace kind of scenario where these traders, any of they kind of buy and sell from their local markets for sure, but if there is an opportunity for them to trade it different cities also, they should be able to do. That's when we introduced something called marketplace, where we thought it could be something like Amazon or in any marketplace you see, right, for traders primarily. And one thing we felt ki okay, in those case scenarios, I think primarily I think one big conflict which will keep on happening is the quality itself. Because while selling, I say it's high quality, and once it reaches there, it's some other quality. Or while selling, I say onion, double patti and all, once it reaches, it could be something else. So we thought, okay, can we at least have a neutral system in the middle where we can automate this piece saying, this is the quality report, and mostly once it reaches, we'll again do the same scans and we'll say whether that quality report remains the same. So this is a rough problem statement. Now I'll get into the technicalities of it. So if you see, right, this is a very rough picture of what we want to do, but I think it kind of, from a top level, it says what we do. So given this kind of image, right, the idea is to understand different attributes which are there. And as I say, right, quality is primarily three primary things. One is color, second is texture, third is size or shape. Color determines what type it belongs to. Maybe in potato it is not that important, but for something like tomato, it determines what stage it is also. So understanding that is important. And second, the same thing with texture also. So texture again plays a role because texture is the primary attribute of bad or good quality. If some cut mark is there or something is bad, then it is bad quality or at least low in quality, right? The same thing size also. Most of the like I think in classic case of either potato, tomato, or even onion, I think size plays an important role. If the size is too big, then it is decent and all those things, right? So we felt okay, if we address these three things where we don't say it is good or bad, but we'll say what exactly it is, then let the two traders decide whether it is what they need or not, and accordingly they'll negotiate. So any trader can just click the picture and we'll give a clear-cut quality report around different colors that SKU might have and different size patterns it will have. And we'll send the complete list to the other side of the trader, wherein he'll try to gauge that, and they'll have a decent trade. But again, there will be conflicts for sure, but at least there is a neutral way to understand whether conflict is unrealistic or it happened really or not. So technically speaking, computer vision wise, we do something called localization. That is the first step to understand where exactly individual instance of the potato is. In this case, if you see the green circles, right, I think that is it's called localization, where we kind of understand what is each where each potato exists. And from there, we further drill down to what type of color it is, or are there any textures on each one of these things. And then we understand size also. I'll try to go a bit detail from high level, but I won't dwell too much into the technicalities of it. Now, the localization piece, right? I think there is a huge effort on this side of things also. It's not there are automated systems out there to do this for you. So primarily, there's a lot of huge monitoring tasks, or like other side of it, right? There is a huge data procurement channel itself to get to the data where we can build this kind of automated systems. So that's where I said we use huge data engineering pipelines itself, Kafka, data lake, a number of things to reach this stage where we have that scale of data. Once we reach this scale of data, then there is another step called data annotation, where a few people initially manually annotate these things. Then we build AI and ML automated solutions around these few things, so that this gets automated eventually. Now this is I think one of the example of how we would annotate initially, that but eventually I think it becomes an automated system where it automatically annotates. Now I think the previous image you've seen, right, there's an automated result itself. This was the initial when we started, like maybe a couple of years back. This is how we started thinking, okay, we'll build a system which can do this for us. And I think within 4 or 5 months we were able to do that. So 3-4 months effort went into this kind of thing, and a lot of different data pipelines to do this also. Then I said any quality without color uh, is kind of not worth, right? And color is not straightforward. It is not. It is very business problem statement. It is not. I'll say it's green or it's red, because what is orange for you is different for me. In the sense, maybe orange is a color, right? But I think in this itself, right? Sometimes on the left, extreme left, I'll say it as green. Someone will say it as gray also. So the subjectivity is huge. So that's when we thought we'll try to create some standardization around different SKUs of color patterns and all those things. So for tomato, we have different color segment, 16 different color segments to say ki tomato always will fall into this 16 color segments if it's a natural tomato, which is moving from one stage to other. The same way with potato also. Once we understood the entire cycle of each SKU, right, then we were able to say ki, okay, there is no green tomato, there is no red tomato, there is like stage 3 tomato, stage 4 tomato and all. And we will give references of what stage 3 and stage 4 looks like to the end user. That kind of worked out for us, and I think that's that's why I wanted to show this piece also. Then comes the texture, right? I think primarily texture is more important, because I think if texture is bad or texture is uh, what you say different, right, then most of the cases the entire trade gets rejected itself. I think color, they're okay because they negotiate prices based on color. But if texture is bad, there is no negotiation, it's direct rejection itself, because the guy who traded from Nasik to somewhere in Bangalore, right? The guy is saying if he sees texture bad, then it's a reject only. If he sees color bad, then they'll start negotiating, saying you said this, but it is not there, so I'll pay this amount. So this is also an important aspect we do primarily through again instance segmentation and a lot of CV techniques itself. Then, as I said, the other big piece, right? Size is not. I think most of our time also went in this case only, where understanding size of product through image is not straightforward, because I think if there is no reference point into it, right, then it becomes even super difficult, because let's take the example here itself, right? I'm speaking in front of you, but you don't know how far I'm from camera or how far the wall behind me is from the camera, right? You can still guess based on your knowledge you have on cameras or how footage looks like. But if you had to objectively say, okay, that the wall behind me is like 8 feet or 9 feet, you cannot say it, because it's single view you have. You don't have multi view, or you don't have depth view at all. So that's why this problem is called molecular depth estimation, where understanding how far an object is from camera, right, that is very important. So we have tried with multiple ways. We have started using reference objects and other things into the picture, and we started solving that also. But roughly any image given, right, we'll understand the size of that SKU also inside that. And based on that, we understand size, then we understand shape. Shape is straightforward because we are already localizing it polygon level. Then color, texture there. Once these 4 come out, right, then we send out it as a quality report to the end consumer. Now, based on the quality report, they negotiate. We don't suggest it's good, bad, or all. But I think once eventually that guy trades us with us for decent amount of times, then we understand what type of quality he always procures based on the quality reports we have generated for him and what all he approved. Then from next time, I think we have strong matching algorithm, wherein whichever trader in India, right, who uploads some kind of SKU, we literally based on the quality report of that particular SKU or incoming trade, we match the trades also. That I think that's the byproduct of creating the quality. One is giving these guys freedom to what do you call freedom to trade with some kind of neutral subjectivity in the middle. And second thing is byproduct is eventually we'll end up creating matching algos for the trades also. So it works out both ways, and I think that's the gist of what we are doing on a CV side, on this side of things. Then I thought maybe The next steps I think we started doing is maybe we'll do video level analytics, because most of you guys might start asking, what if he does this? What if the trader? I think we are not trying to solve a problem of ethics here, wherein the trader who is selling can always fool around. Whether you have system, whether you don't have system, he'll keep things on top. He doesn't keep things on top. That can always happen. But if he doesn't do it in the right way, then he loses because the trade will get cancelled. So I think we're not trying to solve what happens if the quality is underneath it, not on the top and all those things. Those things lie on him, wherein if he wants a successful trade or if he wants to be profitable, then make sure every information is captured so that the other side of the trader, other side of trade, right, this buyer understands everything, and we'll act as a neutral system. If the seller is not honest with the trade, I think there is no way it would work out at all. But again, that if trade gets cancelled, I think the seller is a guy who will face the entire heat, because he would have already shipped the entire product to somewhere else. So yeah, this is the rough gist of it. And this video you see is mostly we are starting to do video analytics also to give the complete picture, because most of the people in market will take images very randomly. So something like video will give more accurate sense of what it is. Now I'll give other modules also, just walk through of other modules also what we'll do, right? We started doing, I think, giving loans also, or with the support of NBFCs or banks with us. We started giving loans also, different ecosystems in the entire agri space. As I said, right, these things divide into 4 or 5 categories, right? One is your resellers, traders, retailers, wholesalers, destination traders, farmers. Now, everyone needs money. I think that's the only way to build a marketplace, or that's the only way to build an agri-tech network or ecosystem, right? Where you don't replace people. I think that's what we learned also, where currently the entire agri space is, people think it's inefficient and you have to go and replace people. No, that's not the case. That is the most efficient system which is there. It's just that it's sunset, but it is still the efficient system. Once we understood that, right, I think we thought, okay, maybe we don't need to replace people in the entire picture. I think all we have to do is provide them tools. That's what we did with the quality estimation thing. And then the next tool is a lending program itself, where we start giving them tools so that this entire thing can be worked out well. Then we started building this entire lending program also, where we felt, okay, we'll give loans to the traders also, because that is one of the big thing in the entire ecosystem. Like, farmer gets loan from trader gets loan from the buy trader. Like, everything is a loan-based system itself. No one gets paid immediately. People get paid only once the end payment comes in. Everyone gets paid, and the big players, that's why they're in the game also, because they give credit to all these guys and they make sure the ecosystem works. So I think most of ML work we do here, or lot of data engineering or data pipelines, or even the big data work happens on the loan side of things, where huge corpus of data flows in every day, and we try to understand, we try to make sense of it, and we build automated systems itself to have the pre-qualified loans for these guys. And this customers, right, they're not primarily your everyday customers where there's a good civil or good indication of their good lenders or something like that, right? These guys are agri players, which means mostly every farmer would have defaulted because of the farm loan concept in India, where if you don't pay, government waives off, right? So most of their civil is anyhow bad. So you cannot take the existing reports and understand their credibility to repay. So there should be a different way. There should be unique way. I think that's where most of our ML work goes. The same thing with traders also. These guys wouldn't have wouldn't have taken loans ever at all because of the business they're in. So the entire risk analytics, or what you call risk management on finance side is a different ballgame here, and most of it is driven by ML and AI solutions itself. And finally, I think a few of the POCs which we kept working on, or something like, what if we built bot systems for these farmers or traders, anyone who's there, right? Again, as I said, the ecosystem, we always see it as 4 pieces. One is farmers, traders, forwarders, and retailers, right? Now, all the solutions which we build, we always build for these 4 different use cases. And that's one of them. One of them is the something like bot itself, right? How do we help farmers? And this is not deployed, is more of a POC, which we have started doing because of all the hype around GPTs and all the hype around LLMs these days. We thought we should try it out and see what all we can suggest the end ecosystem also. One of the use cases is simple, right? Where farmer wants to ask questions or understand what is happening. But like once you touch up the subject, right, the farmer wouldn't even speak in English. Okay, forget speaking English, right? He wouldn't even speak in Hindi also. Maybe he can speak Hindi, but he cannot type Hindi also. Then we started building further. Then we built decent pipelines where okay, the farmer can just hold a WhatsApp and again he wouldn't like to install an app also because he don't know how to install app, right? Then you start thinking what is the best platform which he can use. Then I think WhatsApp is the only thing. So we started building WhatsApp bots in a lot of use cases where this bots the customer can just or the farmer can just press on the record audio function and just say in whatever language it is, Tamil, Telugu, whatever language it is. And in the backend, we understand ASR, in the backend, we understand what it is, and we kind of again generate the response in audio sometimes, even in the video format using the entire GenAI component which are there outside now. So this is on the farm side, and the same thing we do a lot on the trader side of things also, because right now traders kind of trade in a different space now where the traders itself are not educated enough. They have huge WhatsApp groups where they keep forwarding their voice messages saying, yeah, I have this, you want to buy, I have that, you have to buy. We collect huge information of that and we try to create marketplace listings based on just the audio or the chatbot systems which are there. So yeah, this is a rough gist of what we do on the bot side of things. But I think definitely, I think we can give a holistic walkthrough of how technically things happen. But yeah, I think maybe right now I think we are already out of time also. So maybe I'll kind of conclude this. But primarily overall, I just want to give intro of what we do with data science or data analytics or even risk analytics side of things, so that you're aware of things. And we do a lot more on the structure, predict demand forecasting, sales estimation, graph modeling, contact analysis. Like we do a number of things internally, but I try to touch upon a few things which might be interesting to the folks here. Cool. That's it from my side. If you have any questions, I think I'll take it. Maybe I think as panel says, maybe we can take it to the end also.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. I believe this is the really very simple to understand, although it's a very complicated topic to understand. But data scientists, how the data analytics, the different image processing and video, 3D and video analytics can be used to determine the quality, shape, and the size of the product, and the way of the bots that you are using to get connected with the farmers and with the retailers to maybe for their assistance. So I think, yeah, the Ninjacart is using this technology quite a bit very well in a manner, and is going to be helpful your sessions to the startups. So now we will move to our next speaker. After that, we will take the questions. But I'm requesting to the participants, if you have any questions, you can put in the chat box or you may raise the hands. That we will take after the second speakers. So Yuvraj, sir, are you there to introduce our second speaker?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm requesting to Yuvraj sir to introduce our second speaker.
So thank you, Naveen, for sharing your experiences. By thanking Naveen and welcoming Rajesh sir, we'll go to the next speaker. Rajesh Patidar is CEO and founder of From Prosperity Solutions. We're happy to share that their startup is associated with Manage under RKVY-RAFTAAR, and very soon, we are going to support them also with some fund. Sir, he carries both combination of management and the technology background. So we would request him to share his experiences with us today, how his startup is working, in what way they are using data, leveraging this data to help farmers. Sir, thank you for being here, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Amit and all. So I have to share, or I have shared the PPT. So will it be like possible?
You can share. If you want us to share, we can share also.
No, I will share.
We have given you host, sir. You can share. We can see it, sir. Go for full screen. We can go from there.
Okay.
Good to go, sir. Good to go.
Yeah. So I will first sort of talk about what we do at Farm Prosperity, and then I will take little more sort of macro view because we are yet to build our sort of systems on the lines of, let's say, big data and modeling and all. So I will talk more about in terms of general sort of the value chain approach and the data needs there. rather than what we actually have done, because we are just starting, so we are yet to build. So Naveen probably captured more in more detail regarding the sort of computer vision and other topics he touched upon. I would also sort of highlight what all sort of missing sort of links are there, and where we need to work more as a sort of ecosystem player. So first, we at Farm Prosperity Solutions working on chili and cotton value chain. It's near Indore we are operating, and we are providing the advisory services. We are supplying the agri inputs and procuring the sort of farm produce, chili and cotton from the farm gate of the farmers. So in terms of technology uses there, we have got our, as such, so what Naveen was also explaining that, WhatsApp is the most preferred channel there. Most of the farmers are there, everybody is there. So we also have got WhatsApp groups and all, village-wise WhatsApp groups we have got, wherein we publish our inputs which are available, the rates and all, and some advisory the notifications and all, and that works fine. But we have got app also. We have got our own farmer tracking module wherein we track at what, how much acreage they have sown and what is the crop condition, and how much he has bought from us, and so on, using remote sensing also. And then we have got procurement model also, wherein farmer can place their sort of produce, how much produce they have got at their disposal, and what is the quality and quantity and all. And then our procurement guys can pick up from their home. So that procurement system we have got. We also got the Kasi Samadhan app, wherein farmer can actually put their sowing date, and then thereon the notifications are available for them to use the POP, and if there is any peculiar information they want, they can call to our agri doctors, and our person can also visit their plot. So these are the services we have already, we are providing to our set of farmers, where here in around 400 villages we are operating. So in these villages, we are providing all these full stack services to our customers. We'll be adding some more services like farmer finance and crop insurance and all going ahead. But right now, we are focusing more on the input advisory and procurement part. So the overall aim is to provide, the sort of help them, being more sort of profitable, more prosperous. That is what is our aim at FPS. So I will now come to a little bit more basic, like, in terms of what is, let's say, market intelligence, what kind of market intelligence is actually needed. And, for that, what all data needs are there. So when you talk about agriculture, then when it is about, let's say, when we break that value chain, it is always like pre-harvesting and post-harvesting. So pre-harvesting side, we need information on essentially basically how to sell our agri inputs in a better way, because it's the single most factor before harvesting is basically weather. So weather causes a lot of disturbances, so it results into sort of, let's say, inventory pile up, or sometime inventory is not available, and then resowing is happening, so seed is not available, and so on. So basically, how to target, plan, and efficiently, sell our inputs is the that's where we need intelligence. If we have got real-time information on crop acreage, and then rainfall situation, and soil conditions, and so on, we can have better inputs, sale there. This is essentially to have a better yield and then reduce the cost of cultivation. So that is what is we need intelligence towards the pre-harvesting side. Post-harvesting side, it is always about, let's say, from companies or traders point of view, it is about profitable procurement, efficient and profitable procurement. As Naveen was also mentioning that, it is efficient. Of course, output side, it is already efficient, but then, it is also about, let's say, a lot of lack of visibility. We don't know where the stock is lying, how much is lying, and so on. And then people hoard it and all. And then also there is no sort of tools are available, as where he was mentioning about the digital quality assessment and all. It's only, in mandis also, it is about, let's say, manual quality assessment, and then lot of the sort of negotiation is lying towards the negotiation power, bargaining power lies towards the trader side. So, how do we replace it with sort of technology and some tools, which can help in dependency reduction on the manpower aspect. So that's where we need intelligence there, that from, and then where to procure, from where, when to procure, and so on, because those are the typical things which any procurement company faces, that should I wait the prices to further come down, or I should go for it now only, and then further sort of grades and all, we don't know which quality produce is available in which mandi, and so on. So that is kind of intelligence we need at the output side, post harvesting side. So for that, the data which we need is typically the acreage, crop wise acreage, yield, weather data, of course, disease and all, pest attack and all. And then output side, it is more about mandi rates, arrivals, the export import data and stocks, So it looks like that we need very little data, like 5-6 data set only, and then we'll be able to do the modeling and come out with the results. But it becomes very complex when we talk about multiple crops, geography, soil condition, and above all the weather factor, because weather is something, like for example, this year it was supposed to be El Nino here, and then rain should have been less, but what we are seeing is everywhere, a lot of rain is happening. So now if somebody would have planned, considering that, it's difficult, like a lot of resowing is happening and so on. So this factor humbles down the whole approach in agriculture as compared to, let's say, automobile, or any other industry which we talk about. And on top of it, the data sources like available are also let's say not real time reliable, and the granularity which we want, that is not available. There are some government data sites, portals, and are available. Private companies are also there, but still a lot to do on that data part only, because once there is a data, then only probably you can go for the modeling and analysis and all. If data itself is not there, then it becomes a very sort of, the raw material itself is not there for us to take it forward and then build the models upon it. So now so this is sort of like, let's where what kind of intelligence we need, and what kind of data is needed. So now I will talk about some of the companies which are already sort of working in this domain. Of course, Ninjacart is one of them, and then so basically we need data is not there. So what people are doing is, people are building the data in house, generating data, and then further sort of using it for their own purpose, or sort of selling it as service also. So here, let's say there is a company called Cropin. जो Cropin है वो they are doing the geotagging and mapping the plots, and with the help of remote sensing and all, they are trying to come out with the acreage, yield estimation, and so on. So that is there. Then we have got Fasal, SkyMed, WRMS, and so on. Bharat Agri is also there, which is providing advisory services. But yes, as I mentioned, a lot to work there on the weather systems. Very difficult actually. What we see in India as compared to outside countries, we have been seeing that there are a little better forecasting, weather forecasting systems are there. In India, probably a lot more is needed to be done on this. Then there are input companies like Coromandel, UPL, Zuari, and all, who are like traditional input sellers, but now have started reaching out to retailer points and all, and trying to maintain the data and sort of trying to build upon it to generate the business insights there. And then there are other full stack players like Dehat, Gramophone, Absolute, Unnati, Agri-Startups, Ninjacart, Vehicle, Vigro, and so on, who are working on the various sort of nodes of the value chain and trying to optimize there. So this is these are the use cases which are like there, and each has got different model. Somebody is working on advisory, somebody is in weather forecasting, somebody is there at the output side, and each sort of trying to develop their own sort of strengths there. But what I would like to talk about a little bit more on this, that this is, let's say, one part of it, wherein what sort of Naveen explained, that when you go for computer vision or likewise, so much detailing we can get into taking one aspect of it. But what we found on this side also, that lot more is needed to be done on, let's say, these days lot of issues are coming up. I mean, issues as in like farmers are facing problem is to get the labor, sort of labor problems, so labor is not available nowadays, and even people are not going for the lucrative crops, which needs lot of labor, and going for sort of mundane crops, wherein even though the profitability is less, they are going for it. And a lot of mini tractor uses is we can see right now. Right now, in fact, I mean, the sale of mini tractors, we have seen that going up in our area, definitely up. But then drones and other, I mean, drones also has got promise on the way, especially bigger farmers can definitely adopt it. And then, but lot more is needed on equipment and tool side. The basic equipment and tools things are also missing. Like one side we talk about big data and all, that is all fine. But the on ground, let's say, simple tools are also not available, which can sort of help farmer in reducing their drudgery, and also the sort of less labor availability issue can be solved there. So some of the startups like Balwan, Krashi and all, some startups are coming along that line also. Now we see that that would get more and more traction, as because labor problem is going to become more and more severe going ahead. That is for sure. And then the next observation was there when we are working with farmers, we found that farmer advisory services still needs to be strengthened. Like sometime, let's say we ourselves are not in a position to sort of suggest, because a lot of knowledge building has to happen at our level also. But at farmer level also, a lot of education, and like what manage has been also doing it since long time, the extension services, it's still bad. Like we long way to go there. In terms of procurement also, farm procurement, we procured last 2 years, we are procuring, but there are some issues there in terms of, let's say, government support and all, because the 3 farm laws which were to come didn't come. So nobody is interested in buying it farmer level. Everybody, even sort of lot of startups also tried to procure, but eventually they go back to mandi only and procure from there. So like typical, well, the big sort of corporate like ITC, Dabur, and Britannia and so on. I mean, of course, they won't come there because of their scale and all, but a lot more people has to reach there at the farm level, which is not there. In terms of post-harvest loss management, still a lot of things are yet to be done. The cold value chains are missing, and the sort of digital assessment Naveen talked about, and so on. There also a lot of things are yet to be done. So yeah, so these are the some of the points which I sort of wanted to touch upon, and then we can sort of take the questions and answer further queries if they are there in on these lines. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. So mainly talked about this market intelligence, why it is mainly required and which domain, that too in pre-harvest management, maybe supply of the agri inputs, and of course after the post-harvest management, which is necessary. And you mainly talked about what are the different opportunities are there, what are the different existing problems still farmers or maybe the stakeholders they are facing, and how there is a scope to overcome it. So thank you for sharing your session. Now we will quickly move to our next part of the webinar, that is the Q&A sessions. So I'm requesting to participants kindly put your questions in the chat box that we will take one by one. And if you want to ask a question directly to the speakers, you may raise the hands. We will unmute you to ask the questions. So yeah, I can see the first the participants has raised his hand. Mr. Sachin is from the Smart U, is one of the startup. He wants to ask the question, so I'll unmuting him. So Sachin, can you hear me? You can ask the question.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for giving the opportunity to ask the question. First of all, very informative session by Rajesh and Naveen. Very good things we had learned from it in terms of farmers, the agriculture gaps and the observation and the kind of technologies. I have a quick question on the intelligence data of the mandi. is there any promising source where we get a live data or maybe a few hours delayed data from the government website or any other portal which we can leverage to give information to our user base? Is there any promising source on that?
I think ENAM is one of them, at least from the government side of things. Initially, I think maybe one and a half year back when they have rolled out that thing, right? It was very promising. They were capturing decent amount of mandi pricing data and all, but eventually, I think now we hardly see that many updates. We also started something called Mandi News. I think I'll try to share that link over in the chat. Maybe you can go through. But again, that's at a market level and very few SKUs are there. But we are trying to expand on how to do it. And I've seen other players also. I'll try to recall and I'll drop an email to the entire group also on other links which I can find. But ENAM primarily was built for that, but I think it didn't pick up that well, which is a government initiative. Mandi News is what we started recently at Ninjacart. It seemed to have decent amount of data in terms of southern part of India at least. Maybe I'll share that link with you if needed.
There is this AgmarkNet, na? AGMAR, AgmarkNet,
Yeah.
which is there. And also for even better this thing, you have to visit a state-wise, a state-wise sort of state ka agriculture department ka jo links hai, so that is even better. Sometime mandi level is also links are available. So probably jo mandis you want to cover, उसका स्टेट का एंड लोकल मंडी का मिल जाएगा, मतलब इट इज देयर. एग्मार्क सेंट्रली इट इज देयर एंड फर्दर यू हैव टू गो डीपर टू स्टेट लेवल एंड मंडी लेवल.
Yeah, in addition to Rajesh sir and sir, Sachin, there are state marketing boards are there. So they are publishing this data also. Along with that, as Rajesh sir mentioned, the locally the APMCs also have published their data annually, maybe on their website or maybe hard copies of the annual publication. So through that also you will get the information. I hope, Sachin, you got the answer. We'll quickly move to the next question, which is put in the chat box, which is asked by the Mr. Nilesh. As Nilesh want to ask that what are the opportunities in animal market intelligence and big data, as it is mostly neglected data from the field and merged and the not authenticated. How we can go for the solution if anything is there? So maybe Naveen or Rajesh, if you come across any startup who is actually into this domain, and really mainly we can see data intelligence is mainly utilized in a that too in a post-harvest or maybe the pre-harvest stages, but animal sector is there is any opportunity, so that it will help him to the Nilesh.
I'll try to answer at least. I think there is this website called, I think an app called animal.in. I'm not sure whether you guys have heard or not. For primarily on the livestock, I think it is towards village pets kind of thing, right? Your cows and all those things. On those lines, they have built decent amount of stack. They use decent amount of intelligence to create trade matches and all those things. I think that is one company which I can think of. But yeah, they're doing decent amount of work there. I think last time I heard they were able to do 1 to 2 lakh trades in their platform in a quarter or something like that. So at least in certain cities, I know, in certain states, I know, right, Tamil Nadu or Andhra side of things, this app is used very, very well, and they provide a lot of information on pricing and all those things.
Yeah, Rajesh, you want to add something?
There are like 3-4 startups now which has got good amount of funding also. Like I think there is this MoA Farm karke, MOOFARM, MoA Farms karke, and then there are more like this Animal ke alawa bhi aur 2-3 Grow It hai ek, jisko has got it. So and then there are others also which are, let's say, not got funding, but they are there. But the problem thing is that you have to build your own data only initially, and then sort of develop your own expertise there, because somebody would be there in Punjab, but I'm working in, let's say, Madhya Pradesh or Telangana, so I have to do it from little bit scratch only. But you can refer to their model, learn and see how they have done it, and then do it for yourself with the help of whatever is available in the public domain.
Yeah, related to our discussion, sir, I have one more question from my side. That many times what happens, whatever the data is publicly open source, and in reality, the figures are actually the different. So, how much you can say that we should rely on this secondary data which is available and the realistic figures, so that it will helps to give the very good information and accurate information to the who are the looking to take the benefit out of this data. So what is your personal experience and the suggestions to how a startup while collecting the data, they should depend on this data or not?
Yeah. So what happens is like when any startup, especially startup, let's say Ninjacart has become big enough, so it's, let's say, at a higher level. But when we talk about a startup, then it is about, let's say, initially few villages, few set of customers, and then probably then a tehsil level and then district level. So initially we don't need so much. One is that we don't need so much data, because I need very contextual information, because of my 400 villages and my crop, so initially, when we go to that granular level, no data would be enough, matlab, because वो नहीं है इतना granular form में available. And of course जो generic जो है, जो government का data है, sometime it comes late and unreliable है, क्योंकि वो पटवारीज भरते हैं अपना, और मतलब उसका अपना एक प्रोसेस है जो ट्रेडिशनली होते आ रहा है. सो व्हाट हैपेंस कि वो मतलब देयर है, बट देन एट द सेम टाइम इट गिव्स सम डायरेक्शन कि लाइक जैसे इट्स लेट्स से सम 40-50% लेवल तक आपका काम हो जाता है, because it has got at least village wise acreage and yield and historical data and so on, so you can take it, and then that is enough to give one level of confidence. And then for further deep down, then you have to go by the traditional way only, wherein you only collect the farmer data. So for example, in our case also, we took the government data to select villages first, and then once we selected villages, then we went for our own data collection, farmer level data collection, wherein we sort of collected the whole profile data, the total land holding, crop wise, and so on. So that we did on our own. So that is the sort of approach that first, you for the broader selection, you take it, use it, and for further deep dive, you have to have your own data set.
Yeah, totally agreed, Rajesh, because we cannot be totally rely on the whatever the publicly domain open source. We have to do our own work and our own data collection also to get the proper information. I totally agree. We will go to the next question. I can see in the participant Nishant has raised his hand. So Nishant, I'm going to unmute you. Can you hear me, Nishant?
Yes, sir. Am I
Yeah,
audible?
you can ask the question. Yeah, you're audible. You can ask question to the speakers.
I have a very simple question. How could Ninjacart help farmers to get rid of middlemen? Because I think this is very like a devastating problem that every farmer is facing in India or worldwide.
Yeah, I think this is one of the very important question. I can see in the chat box also many questions in coming in the same domain. That what exactly Ninjacart does, or maybe any startup, how they can eliminate the middlemen and they can give good benefits to the farmers.
Got it. So Nishant, I think the way we look at, right, initially when we got into, we felt most of this middlemen are useless. Maybe they're capturing most of what farmers benefits, but sometimes, right, some of this middlemen are important, because I think as a farmer, right, you want to concentrate on producing this content, or creating the content, or making the farm, right. If you leave that aside and you get into the market to sell, right, you put too much of energy into it, and most of the farmers are not willing to. That's where the middlemen come into picture. I understand some of the men, some of the middle guys are unfair, and that's where our tool set comes into picture. When I said, right, middlemen are not completely useless, they're efficient, they're needed in the ecosystem, but yes, there are a lot of channels inside this middleman where they're not needed. Once you have improved tool sets, right, then this will be eliminated, right? Try to take an example, right? When you say, most probably in your example also, when you feel that middleman is not good, most probably what happens is this middleman give loans to these farmers and at an unfair advantage interest rates, and they tie themselves to them always, and they're tied to them irrespective of whatever they produce, right? They end up selling to them, and their entire margin goes in the interest itself, right? That's where we come into picture, where okay, maybe we won't even allow that situation to happen. Where we start giving loans to these guys, that guys, everyone who's there, which are at a fair rate, rather than they getting unfair advantage from other guys, right? That is one thing. And marketplace itself is one thing, right? Once we create marketplace, anyone can sell to anyone. You don't need someone in the middle. That's the second piece. So the only way, I think, from the top it looks like we can solve it very easily, but I think the only way to solve it is to identify who is adding value to the ecosystem, and provide enough tools such that invaluable people out of the ecosystem will move out. And once that happens, then eventually I think whatever noise you see, right, who are troubling the ecosystem will move out of the system itself, because they wouldn't add value without the trouble at all. So that is how we look at it also. But I think, yeah, we try to get to deep as much as possible, but I think, as I said, we try to run the problem slightly backwards, wherein rather than trying to enable farmers more, we want to create more demand. I think once you have more demand, right, then the entire ecosystem will be better only. And on these lines, that's why we try to spend more on trader or retailer side of things to generate more demand. Because at the end of the day, if demand generates, right, I think the only way to like work around is the farmer has to produce more. The moment farmer produces more, then it's his profitable, right? I think that's how we try to solve the problem. Beyond that, we try to give tools to different legs in the ecosystem, so that this kind of things won't happen. But I think this, as I pointed out, these are very difficult problems, but idea is to solve them only primarily by generating demand and by providing tools. And at a larger scale, that's the only way to do it. At a smaller scale, maybe you can pinpoint few people and eliminate them by replacing them through your thing. But in larger agri-tech space or ecosystem space, right, the only way to solve this problem is through provide tools and like what all is required for these guys to not use these bad guys in the system.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
totally agreed. One more thing, sir, giving me a chance. Uh, yes, you mentioned very good things, and it is not completely possible to eliminate middleman, but ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है कि जो रियल मार्केट की कंडीशन या इंफॉर्मेशन है वो फार्मर तक पहुंचे. You mentioned about the marketplaces, and the you mentioned also about the demand. So there is one prominent example in Vidarbha area regarding the orange farmers. तो इन विदर्भ एरिया में ऑरेंज फार्मर्स का एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है और बहुत बड़े नीड भी है. तो आई रिक्वेस्ट यू टू लाइक पेनिट्रेट पर्टिकुलर टू दैट एरिया, क्योंकि मार्केट भी बहुत बड़ा है और ये प्रॉब्लम भी बहुत बड़ा है. आई एम पर्सनली अ फार्म ऑरेंज प्रोड्यूसिंग फार्मर एंड हैव बीन लाइक एक्सपीरियंसिंग the same problem from my childhood. So this is my like request to you guys.
Got it, Nishant. Thanks a lot on that pointer. Definitely, I think आप सही बोले. I think इसीलिए हम अभी last मेरा slide देखे तो आप उसमें primarily I think the bot is built for information towards farmer. ये WhatsApp bot अभी we haven't deployed yet, but most probably will deploy in next 1-2 months. The bot is primarily for farmers only, not in the middleman will use only to create rates, but information provider is for primarily for farmers, saying कि कहाँ क्या बिक रहा है, कितने में बिक रहा है, क्यों बिक रहा है, and all those things. And they can understand weather forecasting sub in their own natural language, in their own audio styles and all those things. So once that something like that goes, no, thoda at least more info. See, at the end of the day, either a farmer get more information to make right decisions, or someone handhelds him and solves his problem. But at least the second is very difficult to do it. At least the first way, where we start providing more information so that he takes right decision, right, उस तरफ तो हम जाएंगे. बट आई थिंक आपका वो आपका प्रॉब्लम भी आई नोट इट डाउन, एंड रिलेवेंट वो एरिया का टीम कुछ रहता है ना निंजा कार्ड के अंदर, मैं बोलूँगा कि क्या चल रहा है, एंड विल सी हाउ इट गोस. ठीक है.
Yeah, yeah. As Navi, you're talking about the bot. So, of course, everyone is leveraging their business and getting connected with stakeholders through WhatsApp business chat and everything. But nowadays there is a very buzz about the chat GPT. So as a AI, they are, I don't know whether it is going to be helpful tool or it be a threat for the startups who are looking their opportunities in this domain. So what is your take on this, that whether really it can be benefit to the startups or it can be the threat for taking the decisions making? Those startups like Ninjacart is into the data driven systems, they are helping or assisting to the farmers. You really think that ChatGPT can become a threat for the startups, or it may be in a, either you have different opinion, it will be benefit to the startups? So maybe this question maybe I'll ask to the both the speakers. So what will be your take?
I think it depends, but I think primarily an Indian ecosystem, right, is different consumer. Is the consumer not in a bad way, but consumer is not educated enough, at least in agri space. He has to be assisted to do anything with tech, right? And that's how we have to look at it also. At this point of time, we have to look at this entire chat GPT or interface AI modules are coming out, right? Which can generate stuff for you, which can help you out to understand other things, right? Maybe I think we have to enable the lower leg or last next billion Indian audience to this, so that they these tools will help them to use the entire tech or the digitized trend, right? Wherein something like voice recognition itself is there, or voice capabilities, voice generation capabilities itself, where these guys cannot read and write. Okay? Then in those cases, the only way to communicate to them, or the only way for us to give tech to them, is through audio itself, right? Then that's where the AML picture thing comes into picture. The same with GPT also. At the end of the day, GPT is still a generative model or generating some text out of something, right? Now, generating very curated content to each, like right now Nishant itself said, right, it's a very specific problem for a very specific area, for a very specific SKU. And if you dig down overall India, there could be thousands of different problems, different SKUs which would face it. Now you cannot possibly build a manual solution to all these problems, so you have to have this semi-automated or complete automation powered by a lot of manual intervention, right? And that this is definitely a great opportunity for the space, because Indian space is a difference. Maybe outside it might do something else, but Indian space may there is no channel at all for this. Right now, only channel is people speaking to people and people solving their problems with each other. But with this kind of thing, maybe the scale becomes very big, where specific problems also could be addressed because it is semi-automated stuff. So I slightly feel it is on positive note only. Definitely there could be negative ripple effects, not in the Indian agri sector itself. I think that will be for sure will be benefited with the entire generative space. But other software sector where, or different sectors which are there, right, they might be affected. But I think in Indian, at least agri or farm or trade ecosystem, I think we can use it to enable them to come into the tech itself. That's how I feel. But I think maybe others could differ also.
Yeah, I agreed, Naveen, with you. Rajesh, you want to add something?
Yeah, so I wanted to add to actually that the question before this was there about the middlemen. So basically, I wanted to add there that middlemen. So the middlemen को बहुत गालियाँ पड़ती है, but middlemen के साथ साथ जो front man और end man है, मतलब let's say farmer and then further upstream में जो trader, processor वगैरह हैं, वो सब भी culprit है basically, because अगर मिडिल मैन सर्वाइव कर रहा है तो देर इज समथिंग विच इज कुछ तो वो ऑब्वियसली जैसे बार बार हम बोल रहे हैं वैल्यू ऐड करता है, वो डेफिनेटली करता ही है. एंड मतलब इकोसिस्टम भी उसको सपोर्ट कर रहा है ना, दैट इज व्हाई इट हैज ही मतलब मिडिल मैन हैज बीन सर्वाइविंग. सो थोड़ा सा ना ओवरऑल एग्री वैल्यू चेन को ही अपग्रेड होना पड़ेगा एट ऑल लेवल्स. फार्मर भी कभी कभार कंफर्टेबल रहता है. अभी राइट नाउ वी आर प्रोक्योरिंग फ्रॉम फार्मर, बट वहां हमें फिर फार्मर एंड पे भी इशू आ रहा है कि लाइक अर्लियर निंजा कार्ड वाज आल्सो प्रोक्योरिंग. सो वहां पे भी इश्यूज आते हैं. एंड देन अपस्ट्रीम में फिर उसके बाद में जो ट्रेडर प्रोसेसर है वो भी उसको पाल के रखा हुआ है मतलब मिडिल मैन को. सो इन अ वे मतलब बहुत सारी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है उसमें इन्वॉल्व. So overall, the only solution is like more and more guys come inside the value chain and try to clean up their own spaces here and there, छोटा छोटा, तभी जाके वो overall value chain evolve होगा. Like
Great, Rajesh.
yeah.
Yeah, we all are the part of the ecosystem, and that yes, everyone is trying to keep his own space in this own ecosystem. I agreed with this. I think we are coming to the end of this time, but I will take one more question. But before that, I have keep the all the links of this webinar YouTube link, then the feedback link in the chat box. I'm requesting participants kindly feed the feedback of this webinar to give us the feedback of us today's, and you can share us the different topics that you like to hear from us from the in the future. So Naveen and Rajesh, very shortly and very quickly, that being a startup in this space, I know it's very challenging. I think Saurabh asked this question, that what are the difficulties you guys are facing at a ground level, and in what way you are overcome this problem. So very shortly you can answer this question. So hope these solutions might be helpful to the startups. Praveen, Naveen, you want to come up first?
Sure. I think anything you pick in the space, right? You like your consumer, you assume you will go with a great solution to the end consumer. It could be farmer or it could be anyone. But first thing you'll get is resistance, where they don't trust you. So trust factor is something which you have to build upon. I think that's what we face also. I think at any given, like once we get into that space and we say, "Oh, we want to give a loan so that you can do the trade," then it's like, why do you want to give a loan? So they don't trust. Okay? Trust factor is something you have to build by spending time, understanding what they do and all. Don't have your own intuition of the problem. I think the problem is completely different, and 99% of the times it is a different problem altogether. So get there, understand the problem clear cut from end to end, spend a lot of time, be that persona for whom you want to solve the problem, then go and give the solutions. Don't go with the solution saying, okay, this will work for you. It won't work for them, or they won't even trust you to solve the problem for them. So
Yeah,
understand their problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Naveen, this is a really very good and valuable advice to the all startups or the aspiring entrepreneurs that Naveen has told to build that relation or the trust before you are putting your solutions. Rajesh sir, you want to put something?
Yeah, so something on similar lines that, first, let's say an entrepreneur initially, let's say first तो problem के बारे में भी थोड़ा ना proper understanding होना, often like मतलब थोड़ा सा एक broader idea होता है कि how I feel about this problem, but then actually जो enter करना चाहता है उसको थोड़ा और ड्वेल करना पड़ेगा प्रॉब्लम के ऊपर कि वो मतलब क्या है, मतलब पहले प्रॉब्लम ही समझना होगा। इवन नवीन टॉक्ड अबाउट कि सॉल्यूशन पहले से लेके नहीं कूदना है, आई वुड से पहले प्रॉब्लम भी और सॉल्यूशन तो और बाद में आएगा। फर्स्ट
Yes.
वेरी वेरी डीप अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ लाइक प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज वो क्या होगा, वंस यू जंप इनटू इट देन आपको जो सस्टेन करने के लिए एनर्जी चाहिए, देयर इफ अगर आपने इनफ टाइम प्रॉब्लम पे दिया हुआ है एंड यू फील अबाउट इट, देन ओनली आप उसको सर्वाइव कर पाओगे, बिकॉज शॉर्ट
Yeah.
ट्रिक होगा। वंस यू जंप इन देयर यू हैव टू स्पेंड लॉट ऑफ टाइम, स्पेशली इन एग्रीकल्चर, इन फिनटेक।
Yeah, very true words, Rajesh sir. In a nutshell, I can summarize that while you're putting the solutions, you have to do a proper product market fit. Then only you are going to survive with your own solution and your own business. So the trust factor and the product market fits, it's what the conclusion that you are advising to these budding entrepreneurs and the startups. So yeah, time is already done. So I'm putting already all the speakers details in the chat box, the feedback from the link, and you can register for our upcoming webinars. And I request you all to follow our social media pages where you will get the updates regarding our upcoming programs and the activities and the events that Manage is conducting. So with this short note, I'm going to end the session. But before that, I would like to say thank you, Rajesh and Naveen. Very in a short notice, you guys are agreed for coming to speak with us. And first of all, thank you for that on behalf of Manage and on behalf of all the participants. Just yesterday only we are able to figure out and we'll get you for this webinar. So I'm really thankful for that. And the attendees, you are asking so many questions. You may reach to them. We have shared their email IDs and we are going to share their presentations also with you all. So with this note, we'll stop for the day. Thank you once again all.
Thank you.